Manning, Iowa. It's refreshing.
You've heard their impression of Manning. Oftentimes Manning people don't even realize how good they have it, and really don't realize how proud they should be. One of the points the consultants made was stop apologizing. Stop saying, for a town of 1,500, it's pretty good to have a 24-hour rec center. One of the consultants said he's from a town of 40,000, and they don't have a 24-hour rec center. So stop apologizing. And as Jim said, we're basically a humble lot, and that's okay. So we can stop apologizing about being a great town. One of the points was on brand, what makes you different? What makes Manning unique? What makes Manning great? I'm going to help you with that. And I'm not going to read all of this, but I'll hopefully give you time to go through it. But if you look at what Manning is and what we're so much more than, you'll get an idea of why, A, why we can be proud, but B, why we believe it's refreshing. And I guarantee you, if somebody from Omaha, Des Moines coming to Manning, they'll view it as a refreshing town. 5 church communities working together, community that cares for itself. One of the Main Street activities, partnering with energy efficiency, part of JEO Consulting to win the downtown revitalization, new hospital, medical clinic, care home on Main Street. That's unique, and it's something to be preserved. I mean, I was in there today, and the residents are in the front lobby watching the traffic on Main Street. Multiple park buildings in Main Street District, renovated storefronts, 3 banks, our community center in the park, senior center on Main Street, new concession stands in I think every sporting arena we have, 24-hour accessible rec center, its own indoor swimming pool. It's a town of 1,500. Again, and here I'm saying it's a town of 1,500. I need to stop apologizing, but we're going to be very proud. City-owned utilities, police department, progressive city staff, backup generators to power the whole town. How many towns have that? How many cities have that? Cities don't have it. We can complain about that we're too far away from everything, but I would tell you it's actually an advantage of being between 4 county seats and between Omaha, Des Moines, Ames, and Sioux City. Just one simple example. Most people in Des Moines will not go to a cultural event in Omaha. It's too far to go. A lot of cultural events will hit one of the 2 cities. We have the option to go to either one, about the same distance, and really that includes Ames and Sioux City. So actually I would tell you our location is an advantage. How many towns, thank you, have their own school history book, town history books, military history books, and home books? How many towns? Kinderfest is the oldest festival in the state. We have quality parks on the east, west, and the middle of town. It's the only authentic German house barn in the United States. The oldest operating church in the county. And what community is going to move a church 11 miles? Home to Brad Morgan, Brian Jones, Nate Horsman, and performance by the opera star Simon Estes. So Manning's a lot more. We've got a lot more choices than a lot of other towns our size. Local ownership of all our major medical facilities. A robust agriculture industry. Agriculture drives western Iowa, and literally one of the points the consultants make is that agriculture literally rolls into your town. At the end of Main Street, you got an ag center. On the east side of town, you got cattle on both sides, and the rows of crops literally come into town. Western Iowa's most progressive John Deere dealer. Service companies, variety store, pharmacy, sporting goods, full-service grocery store, full-service hardware store, zone plastic molding company, full-service pet care, boarding, multiple bed services, TV repair. Again, it's easy to complain, but I think we need to sometimes sit back and realize what we have. Cabinet working shops, personalized interior design service, florist, coffee shop, restaurant, go on and on. Veteran Support Center. I don't know who all went to the first annual C3 Christian concert event. It was great. And it was aimed at our future, aimed at our youth. Community gardens that they had doubled in its second year. Renovated second-story apartments downtown. Music on Main Street. Today you walk up and down Main Street, there's music coming from the loudspeakers. It's just very pleasant, very refreshing. 202 housing project that just kicked over dirt Monday along with the hospital. Excellence in education with an award-winning school system. So that's what makes us different. And that's what we need to capitalize on. And challenge is, how do you put 1 to 3 words around all of that? All of that, how do you describe it in 1 to 3 words? So I believe the recommendation from consultants and the one we accepted is great. It's refreshing. I can guarantee you, as I said before, if somebody comes in on the west side of town in a summer afternoon and you drive down past the ball course, you got Little League games going on, you got people in the stands, you got the concession stand going. It's a Norman Rockwell picture. It really truly is. And that's refreshing. And it's not stuck amongst housing developments. There's space on both sides. So that's refreshing. There's been, talking to different people, a lot of people say, don't quite get why Manning's refreshing. So one of the things we're hoping to do is explain why, in our view, it's very appropriate. Yeah, we're not on a lake, and we're not on a mountaintop, but it's still refreshing because of all the things we just talked about. Common definition of refreshing is thirst quenching, making fresh again. Additional definitions: stimulating, cool and pleasant, invigorating, pleasingly fresh or different, experiencing something or someone that is better than you anticipated, cooler or kinder or more unique than expected. Under those definitions of refreshing, I fully believe that Manning fits it. Next, one more point, I'll talk about why the committee actually adopted it, why we really felt it was good. One thing I'll say again, I think there's some hesitation on some people's part of whether or not refreshing is really right. I'd ask people to look back a few years ago when the two schools integrated and we were no longer the Bulldogs, we were the Wolves. Was it accepted right away by most people? No. A lot of hesitation. So it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of acceptance from the community and understanding why we do feel that we're refreshing. Part of the process, we got the recommendation, and a lot of hours were spent on both the logo and the slogan itself. But again, as we thought about it, we thought it was very good. I mentioned the Norman Rockwell picture. And we thought that if we have a refreshing lifestyle, I joke, traffic jam is 2 cars at the same stop sign. And if you're coming from Denver, that's refreshing. Our copiness is refreshing. The country living. Now, the country's cool again. Small towns are cool again. Independent style life, and again, it really is a Norman Rockwell type life. We did look at some other brands, some branding ideas. Other than Andy, is there anybody here from Manila? Oh, we had to keep a secret. Everybody here has to keep a secret. One brand we chose not to accept was We Aren't Manila. We liked that, but just figured that how are we going to advertise that and make that? The other one was, Jim didn't go into details. They met with a lot of people in small groups and had them explain what their impression of Manning is. That's how they got much of it, besides the bowling alley. And one thing that came across is most people don't lock their doors. Don't even know where their keys are at. So one of the things we did reject was the town with the unlocked doors. We weren't sure we should advertise that. Bottom line, we felt that refreshing would work in our community and in the four-county area. Let me give one other presentation.
Everybody, Carol's gonna.
This is what was planned when you came in. This will also tell you, this is from the consultants. And I would tell you, for example, one of the changes we made, this was the logo that they had recommended, and the branding committee we weren't enamored with it. So we spent a lot of time working on other logos, and quite frankly, didn't come to a resolution on it at all. The one that we have now arrived at, and it's not really a logo, I'll call it more of a caricature of Manning, that we're going to use in some of the branding, actually came from, initially the idea came from the visioning people. And Nancy took it and partnered with them and developed it further, and it's the skyline of Manning. I'll show it to you a little bit later. So we're using that instead of this. This is an example. We probably spent 25 hours just arguing about that. I say arguing, working together. A lot of work. I'm going to let this play, but again, this also speaks to Manning and why it's refreshing. But ask the business people in here, and we'll talk more about it. I challenge you to think about how you can use it in your advertising for your own business. So next on the agenda, we talk about why Manning's refreshing is we have young adults, young families moving back. And really the question is why? So Jeff and Ross, if you come up. Ross Newbar and Jeff Bloom are two of our local distinguished alumni who moved back. They graduated from college, they worked elsewhere.
He didn't say what we're distinguished.
That's right. Served their country, but they moved back. Now, certainly the first draw is going to be family. But we have a lot of alumni who have family here that haven't moved back. So I've asked these two to talk just a little bit about what is it beyond family that brought them back to Manning.
Okay, thanks. Ross Mulbauer. I'm from here in Manning, born and raised. I went to school at Manning High School. Went to college at Iowa State. I had a positive experience growing up here in Manning. I always thought so, but I thought all towns were like that. I got to college and realized that wasn't the case. I wouldn't say I was immediately homesick for Manning. It was just a slow process that I realized the people I was running into did not have the same views of their hometown. So after 8 hard years of work at Iowa State, I received my first degree and went to work for the university. I was a researcher for the university in ag waste management and continued to travel across the state. And I used to see different towns. And the whole time in the back of my head was saying, Manning wasn't that bad. It was all right. And at the same time, my wife and I were talking about starting our own business, an ag sales and service business, based on my experience in the ag waste industry. When that time came, there really wasn't any question where we were going to go. It was to go home, back to Manning. So we're here now. I always knew that we liked the folks here, we liked the people. when we started looking at the facilities here for moving here and raising a family and realized how good it was for that, it still came back to the people. It's because the people are here that we have the nice facilities we do and create a good environment to raise a family. So that's why I moved back.
My name's Jeff Bloom. My wife Jamie and I moved back about a year ago. I think our story is a little bit different because we always planned on moving back to Manning. It's just that over the course of the years, our reason changed a couple of times. So when I first went to college, started classes at Iowa State, the reason was education. Because I was going into classes with kids, you know, I go in and I test out of all these classes. I go into a class with these kids in English 304 as a freshman who were in that class because at their high school they got college credits, which we didn't get at that time. So you'd have all these kids who had gone through all these college classes and were in this English class with you. But it was pretty obvious right away that they didn't have the kind of education that we had. Even though we were taking, you know, high school classes, they couldn't write as well as any of us. They couldn't speak in front of people as well as any of us. And it was pretty clear right away, both in English and other subjects like math, that even though we weren't taking college level courses here, our education was far and above what everybody else had. So that was the first reason. Then, after going through college, same 7-8 year deal Ross went through, we moved to Omaha. And when we moved to Omaha, we moved into a subdivision, a place where, you know, some big housing company comes in and they build all these homes and they all look about the same. And that really changed the reason to a sense of neighborhood. Because when we lived in that housing development, every single house in there had a 2-car garage that faced the road. So people would walk through their house, they walk into their garage, they get in their car in the morning, they hit the button, the garage door would go up, they back out, go to work, come back at the end of the day, drive back in the garage, and you'd never see them. There were so many people on my street, I'd say we were friends with maybe 2 or so, and there were maybe 4 or so that we really knew. And that's like as far as we could see in any direction. So then it came to the sense of community. We wanted to be in a place where, you know, we knew our neighbors, we could talk to them, we'd see them outside. I joked with a lot of people when I lived in Omaha that the most I saw my neighbors was when it snowed, because then everybody had to get up and scoop their driveway in the morning. So everybody would be outside at the same time scooping their driveway. So then towards the end, when we were talking about where we were going to move, we definitely didn't want to live in the city, but we wanted to move somewhere. We were looking at, you know, different places, but then it came to the sense of community. The place I worked in Omaha owned a hunting company, or a hunting club, about an hour north of Omaha. So we'd have these clients come in from big cities, and we'd pick them up at the airport, and we'd drive up, you know, through the countryside and go through all these small towns on the way until we got to the hunt club. Well, when we were on our way up there, they'd always go through these small towns, and they'd kind of say, you know, this is kind of there's not that much going on in this town. There's not that much there. And I'd always say, yeah, I'm from a small town like this, and I love it because the nicest buildings in town are the churches, the hospitals, and you know, the places that take care of people. It's not the houses and the businesses. It's all the places where people are taking care of other people. So at the end, it was community that brought us back. But, well, it was all the reasons, but it was just a change of what the reason was at that time. And since we moved back, we've had some great opportunities here in Manning. I work out at Puck's.